It is Monday, and it's good to be back. By 7, Tuvshim Paivuv on Edge. My name is Gershy Schwarcz, and I'm your host with the news of the last 72 hours now on Edge. It's May 18th, 2026.
Your daily report of the news of the last 24 hours, powered by Yiddish24, provided to you by The Click.
Yep, he's right, by The Click. Click 613, the bot that knows everything, anywhere a Yid needs to know. Anything. Davening, kusha, tefillas, whatever you need to know. Click 613, look it up. Hayoim shishu va'arbuim yoim shahaim shishu shuvios va'arbu yomem lu'oimer et netzach sheba malchus. Unknown drones targeted UAE's Baraka nuclear power plant. Trump is sending Iran clear warning signs through social media with many posts, which we will read here soon. Interesting ones. One problem, Iran is probably not receiving it because of the internet blackout. Hopefully their leaders are getting the message. President Trump has postponed a planned military attack on Iran. The strikes were originally scheduled to happen tomorrow. He says now he decided to hold off after getting requests from 3 Middle Eastern leaders. He specifically named the Emir of Qatar and the Saudi Crown Prince and the President of the UAE. Trump explained that the attack is on pause because, in his exact words, serious negotiations are now taking place. Stay tuned for the latest news here on Edge, the last 72 hours, but Ring and Go. Why? Why Ring and Go? Because they have right now the best, well, let's talk about the cameras they have. They have 2 different types of Canon cameras. The Canon cameras they have available, I don't remember exactly which cameras they are. I will look them up for you, but they're great cameras. Just came in now, he told me, and at the best unbeatable prices. Those cameras, he says, are the Canon G7X and the Canon SX740. For great prices you will not go get anywhere else, and especially for my listeners on Edge, if you call 347-480-7455 and you say the code on Edge, you will enter to win $500 gift card or a camera. Again, 347-480-7455. Ring and Go. .us. Ring and Go can get you anything you want, from phone plans, phone service, the whole thing, and phones, tablets, telephones, and you know what, everything electronic that you can think of, devices, if you need a home phone, cameras, fun tablets and stuff like that. 347-480-7455. Mention on Edge the code and we enter to win a $500 gift card or a camera. Enter to win. All right, now aside from thanking Ring and Go, I also wanted to thank one of my viewers for commenting on one of my commenters who commentated about, or sent me a negative comment about why I do the ads, and he understood that the koiches and the me that goes into a program like this, well, the ads support it, the sponsors support it. So I want to thank him for giving me some kind words, and those kind words also support us. So you can always call me on my number 845-671-1775 and press 5 to leave me a clear and brief message of what you think of this program and more. All right, let's continue, shall we? Yes, we probably should continue. A drone struck a generator at the UAE's Baraka nuclear power plant. A fire outside the inner security area happened. At first, security forces successfully shot down 2 of the drones but missed a 3rd one. This was the one that hit the nuclear power plant. Emirati Foreign Minister Abdullah bin Zayed told the International Atomic Energy Agency that safety levels are completely normal. There were also no injuries and no radiation leaks, thank God. Now, the UAE also said that the drones entered its airspace from the western border, which is where Saudi Arabia is. However, Saudi Arabia says they were also hit by those drones, so both countries quickly condemned the strikes that possibly, most likely, came from Iran or Iraq, from one of the militias and proxies, making it harder to trace it back to them. The UAE Foreign Ministry declared it a terrorist attack. Anwar Garagash, an Emirati diplomatic advisor, stated that Tehran or its terror proxies, Yamach Shomrim, are responsible. Last week, we reported that Emirati officials already accused Iran of launching missiles and drones at the port city of Fujairah, which is an oil refinery. It's not really too surprising, since Iran previously warned Gulf countries that if they became friendly with the US or Israel, they could become targets. All right, in response to the problematic peace talks with Iran, Trump issued new warnings. But before he did that, he got on a Sunday phone call with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. The 2 leaders discussed his meeting in China and the Strait of Hormuz, which is the important waterway that helps Gulf countries deliver oil to the rest of the world. After that phone call, Trump decided to post on Truth Social. Now, I know some of my listeners left me messages about playing Trump's comments and statements live, that they prefer not hearing them, I would say, although there are a majority that actually do want me to include those segments, those excerpts. Now, so in response to those that do not want it, I will respect that, and I do not plan on playing anyone else's excerpts except from, obviously, President Trump himself, but only sometimes and when it's really important to. And I think it's fair. It's a fair compromise. For now, here is Megillus Truth Social, which I will read. President Trump shared a series of about, I would say, 45 or 42 posts over the weekend. He posted a large amount of them in just 1 hour. He shared many pictures made with AI, obviously, artificial intelligence, and I will get to all of them. But before we do that, we do get to those posts, the Sunday post, let's talk about the posts Trump deleted, because he deleted a few. And lucky for us, the internet is fast, and Trump is, well, almost as fast. Note, I said almost. Okay. So, hold that thought. Don't be mad at me for asking you to wait, but honestly, we could all lose some weight. Or at least stop making that awkward, I'm sorry I'm full, but I always make room for your chunnut face after Kiddush at home, right? Or stuff yourself with Mesidas Nefesh just to avoid offending the chef, Marvin Yuvan. So sign up today with Kosher Skinny Shot, or call 845-456-8924. Again, the number is 845-456-8924. It's not just for fesher people. It's a myth, by the way. Okay, it's not for obese. It's for everyone who wants to maintain a healthy brain for a healthy diet. Our Zedas never needed this because of the amount of delicious food available today. It's just wow, Baruch Hashem. Anyway, though. Call now and mention your name and number clearly with the words Kosher Skinny on Edge. KSS on Edge. If you mention this code, Kosher Skinny on Edge or KSS on Edge, well, this is calling and leaving a message only, okay? No texts, no emails accepted. You can either call my number if you want on 845-671-1775, press 5. But again, I would recommend you call the Kosher Skinny Shot number, which again is 845-456-8924. And you can enter to win 1 free month. And we will announce that it might be not just one winner, but there might be many winners if you sign up with Kosher Skinny Shot today. 845-456-8924. That's Kosher Skinny Shot. And mention on Edge, Kosher Skinny Shot on Edge. All right, now back to Megillus Truth Social from Trump. On Shabbos morning at 9:40 a.m., he posted about election law. It opened word for word. The Save America Act must be passed. That's what he says. Now, he didn't say passed. I actually read it wrong. He says the Save America Act must be passes. Now, yes, passes. We are not fixing it. He went on to claim Maryland had 500,000 fake mail-in ballots and closed with crooked mail-in voting must be stopped. Make America great again, and then he obviously deleted that. 17 minutes later, at 9:57 a.m., he went after New York Governor Kathy Hochul over the Long Island Railroad strike. Right, he wrote, and I quote, "Failed New York State Governor Kathy Hochul, a Democrat, just blamed me," like he likes calling them, blamed me for her Long Island Railroad strike when she knows full well that I have nothing with big caps, nothing to do with it. And he said he never had even heard of the strike until that morning, suggested Bruce Blackman should be the next governor instead, and signed off with, "Kathy, call me if you can't get it done. I will get it done." And then that one got deleted too. Now, thousands of Long Island Railroad workers, by the way, are on strike. This caused the shutdown of the largest commuter train system in North America, and it was during the Monday morning rush, no less, today, yes. As a result, around 300,000 passengers are affected. The workers' unions are demanding a 16% wage increase over 4 years. Unfortunately, talks did not progress, and no contract was signed. So, the strike began at midnight on Motzei Shabbos Kodesh. This is the first strike for the train system in 30 years. And at 12:57, let's continue with the Megillus Truth Social, shall we? 12:57 p.m., he posted an image titled "Prior Presidents versus President Trump," a cracked, dirty floor next to a clean, reflecting pool. Deleted before anyone can even take a screenshot. Somewhere out there is a man whose job is watching that account and did not blink fast enough. Anyway, so that was Shabbos, now Sunday. Trump posted 35 times in Truth Social yesterday. 35 times. That's not a crazy man. It's a president that knows the language of his people. The young 6-7 people. If you know what I mean, you know what I mean. Burich Shelo Yasani from this generation. I'm joking. Anyway, it started early. Then at 12:40 a.m., he wrote a small book attacking Kentucky Congressman Tom Macy. Yes, and this was personal. This was personal, my friend. He called Macy the worst and most unreliable Republican congressman in history of our country, nicknamed him Rand Paul Jr., and called him a major sleazebag. At 12:40 a.m. in the morning, this is what Trump does instead of counting sheep, obviously. The reason is there is a primary in Kentucky on Wednesday, and Trump wants Macy gone. He is backing, obviously, Macy's opponent, a farmer and a military veteran named Ed Galrain. Ed Galrain. Call him. At 12:54 a.m., a big night in politics. Thank you all, he says. And finally, sleep. That's what he wrote. He didn't sleep, obviously. He wasn't done. Maybe he did. Because at 7:58 a.m., he woke up. The guy's up. And went straight back to Macy. He didn't finish there. He said, bad Congressman Tom Macy voted again against tax cuts, the border wall, our military and law enforcement. His advice to Kentucky, word for word, vote to bum out on Tuesday. And again, at 4:17 p.m., a third post that afternoon calling Macy third-rate, weak and pathetic, and a totally ineffective loser, while telling everyone to vote for Galrain instead. Then he wrote today at 10:47 Eastern Standard Time today, the worst congressman in the long and storied history of Republican Party is Thomas Macy. He is an obstructionist and a fool. Vote him out of office tomorrow, Tuesday. It will be a great day for America, President DJT. So, that is 3 separate posts in one day. What about one congressman? When Trump does not like you, he doesn't hold a grudge. He subscribes to it. Anyway, so you do not like your weight, so subscribe to Kosher Skinny Shot as well. You know, if you don't like something, you subscribe to it. I'm joking. You subscribe to Kosher Skinny Shot. I don't have to tell you again the number, do I? Right? You know. Anyways, back at 8:30 a.m., a hello to an event called Rededicate 250. Rededicate 250. And a reminder that he is, quote, back from China. At 12:42 p.m., things got serious. He warned Iran, word for word, for Iran, the clock is ticking, and they better get moving fast, or there won't be anything left of them. And he added, time is of the essence in big caps. But again, like I started the news today, he obviously backed down from doing the attacks that he possibly was going to do tomorrow because of the Saudi Crown Prince and the UAE and Qatar. 12:46 p.m. he linked one of his own posts, posting his own post. I still do not understand this nowadays, the whole thing. I understand, but this reposting the post that he posted after they posted what I posted before, they repeatedly posted a repost from my original repost of my post. 2026, 6-7. And then came the afternoon. Hold on. Because this is about 28 posts in roughly 90 minutes. Okay, you have time? I'm joking. At 4:02 and 4:03 p.m., 2 videos. At 4:05, another video, plus an AI image of a figure rising out of the reflecting pool labeled "Coming Soon" which I'm not sure exactly what it was. Anyway, at 4:17 p.m., a written post backing Macy's opponent, Ed Galrain, with an Oval Office photo, both of them, with a cap, "Make America Great Again." And at 4:47 p.m., an AI license plate making fun of Gavin Newscum. Gavin, he wrote New Scum, SCM, with a picture of Gavin in the middle looking like a zombie. At the same minute, 4:47, an image of Democrats Obama, Biden, and Nancy Pelosi soaking in a dirty pool in front of the mountain in Washington, captioned, "Democrats love sewage." And the man does not waste a minute. He fits 2 posts in one. And at 4:48 p.m., the Space Force image of himself presenting a giant red button. Oh, he loves that red button. A quick word on that briefcase, by the way, since people are asking. I had a listener calling me in. What's this? I spoke about in China where they had a fight where the Secret Service agents had a fight with the Chinese police officers there outside of the meeting room. And obviously, the guy was this guy. One of the Secret Service agents was carrying this briefcase. It's called the nuclear football. A military officer usually carries it and stays close to the president at all times, even on foreign trips. Now, inside are the tools a president would need to order a nuclear strike, secure communication gear, and a book of options. It's not a red button, really. There is no button, really. People say it's a button. His red button is actually the Diet Coke button. So why does it follow the president everywhere? So he can respond fast from anywhere in the world. Since the Cold War, the football goes where the president goes every single day. And yes, it caused friction in China. Before, back in 2017, also reports said Chinese security tried to block the officer carrying it in Beijing. And now, again, in this meeting last week, there was some pushing as well. The Secret Service later said it was minor and nobody touched the briefcase. At 4:48, himself walking down a path with bald eagles. and the sunset. And at 4:50 p.m. himself again walking a Space Force runway lined with soldiers, Earth and the moon behind him. And at 4:51 p.m. 3 posts a drone blowing up boats captioned "Bye Bye Fast Boats," and then a golf in his golf course, like hitting the golf ball, and it hit someone, a politician on the news, or one of the news media that he doesn't like, obviously. And before and after called 159 Iranian boats with the boats underwater, showing Biden administration versus his administration, with them, the boats floating peacefully, and with him, the boats at the bottom of the ocean. And oil tankers sailing towards the Statue of Liberty. He's basically saying that everyone's coming to buy oil from America, like China is doing, as you already heard on Edge last week. And at 4:52 and 4:53 p.m., 2 more images. At 4:53, the big one, an AI picture of Trump walking on a runway next to a man in an alien costume. And at 4:54 p.m., a meme comparing 2 maps, Jim Crow 2.0 versus democracy, with Obama doing like that and like this. At 4:54 p.m., a meme comparing I said it right, the same minute actually, reposted a Breitbart article about a Greek energy minister. I'm not really sure what that means. And at 4:55 p.m., an image of a Congressman Hakeem Jeffries standing in a pile of cash while his district is full of garbage. That he lives in riches, and his district that he claims that he cares about is actually full of garbage. That's what he's trying to say. At 4:56 p.m., a what they do versus what we do reflecting pool image again. That pool image, basically the longest pool. He's trying to compare that the pool next to the White House is the longest pool and even taller than the biggest skyscraper. But here he showed 2 pictures one by one next to the monument, the Washington Monument. One is dirty versus the Democrats when it was very dirty and not taken care of, versus his, which is very nice and clean. At 5:01 p.m., a bar chart called Length of Wars, which listed the wars with Iran at 6 weeks only versus other wars that took even longer. At 5:06 p.m., world leaders walking through a Chinese hallway. And at 5:09 p.m., 2 posts, a dumb and a dumber image of the Illinois government. J.B. Pritzker there and the other guy. And also J.B. Pritzker is too busy to keep Chicago safe because he's eating and eating and eating. And a drug overdose chart titled, "Thank you, President Trump, for lowering the lowest drug doses in America now." I mean, you know. And at 5:14 and 5:16, 2 more Space Force images, explosions, control panels, and red buttons again. And he says, bing, 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 boom, boom, boom. You remember that one? I once posted it here on Edge. I don't know if you remember that. And he has like pictures of buttons pressing and Iranian ships and drones being blown off in the sky. And at 5:26 p.m., the ending, 2 posts, a photo of him and Xi Jinping shaking hands on a red carpet, and a map of the Middle East with American flags over it and arrows pointing at Iran from every single side, and a post about "it was calm before the storm." And then today, Monday, he was back at it again. You're tired? I know, me too. We're 18 minutes in, my friends. I haven't yet begun. Joking. I have. It's not so much anyway. The big post came around lunchtime. Trump was angry about news reports suggesting Iran is winning the war, so he laid out a, let's call it, very specific scene. He wrote that even if Iran surrenders, even if the entire military walks out of Tehran, weapons dropped and hands held high, each shouting, I surrender, while wildly waving the representative white flag. Yep. Even then, he said, the media would still call it a win for Iran. He named the names, obviously, the failing New York Times, the China Street Journal, which he has a new nickname now for the Wall Street Journal, by the way, and corrupt and now irrelevant CNN. Okay, he finished with the Democrats and their media have totally lost their way. They have gone absolutely, with caps, all caps, and exclamation mark, crazy. So to recap, the weekend, 35 posts, or more actually, I don't know how many you counted here. And on Sunday, AI, aliens, and a red button, a war chart, and the man does not take a day off. The phone does not take a day off, obviously. Obviously, Trump is preparing for a potential military action, like I said, over the weekend. Now, he met at his Virginia golf club with Vice President J.D. Vance, and also Secretary of State Marco Rubio, CIA Director John Ratcliffe, and White House envoy Steve Witkoff. Tomorrow, he will meet with his top national security team in the White House Situation Room to discuss military options. A former senior security official said the administration is asking the UAE to take control of Iran's Lavan Islands, so American troops do not have to fight directly, obviously. Diplomats are now attempting to mediate. Pakistani Interior Minister his name is Mohsin Naqvi, or Naqvi, whatever his name is, arrived in Iran for a 2-day visit and met with Iranian President Masoud Pezeshkian. The Qatari Prime Minister also held phone calls with his Pakistani counterparts, and the Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi. Israel. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu spoke on Sunday at the Knesset Museum and stated, "Our eyes are wide open regarding Iran to prepare for possible attacks against Iran. Israel has built 2 secret military bases inside Iraq." In response, Iranian Armed Forces spokesman General whatever his name is warned that the U.S. has said that warned the U.S., and he said that any renewed attack would cause a far more severe and powerful Iranian response. Iran's Deputy Parliament Speaker, Haji Bajabah, whatever his name is, Haji Babai, also said, quote, "If the enemy attacks our oil, we will ensure no country in the world has access to the region's oil for a considerable period." One was built in late 2024, one of the bases. The second was added this year. One Iraqi soldier and one civilian were killed specifically to keep this location hidden, by the way. Inside Iran, the government is preparing for its citizens for conflict. Men and women are learning how to use light weapons and mosques across the country. The United Nations verified that the Iranians have already executed at least 32 political prisoners since the United States and Israel began their attacks on Shabbos Zuhr. Israeli forces stopped more than 50 aid boats, flotilla boats, traveling to Gaza in international waters. This was because pro-Palestine activists were on the global Sud flotilla boats, run by Greta Thunberg. Well, I don't know if she was on those ones, but very similar copycat ones maybe. Israeli soldiers boarded those boats to stop them from breaking the naval blockade. And as they did this, they jammed their radio comms and played a song to make fun of them with the words, "Oops, I did it again." So, you may remember that they also stopped another group of boats last week or 2 weeks ago, I think it was. Activists on the boat said they needed to reach Gaza to provide much-needed aid to Palestine. But Israel's foreign ministry said, well, Gaza has already too much, and they're flooded with aid. If you recall last week, we reported that too many aid trucks were entering Gaza, so much as that Hamas was already turning the extra materials into weapons. Heavy fighting continues between Israel and Hezbollah in Lebanon. The Israeli Air Force carried out more than 60 strikes across Lebanon this morning. Over the weekend, the military struck about 100 terror targets. This included surveillance positions and as well weapons sites. The Air Force killed 2 terrorists who launched rockets at Israeli troops in the southern Lebanon areas. Thankfully, the rocket attack caused no injuries. The troops then searched the area and found highly explosive weapons. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu informed the cabinet that the government created a new team with an unlimited budget to stop small explosive drones steered by remote video. He said Israel has already stopped hundreds of enemy such drones, aircrafts. In total, the IDF struck more than 440 Hezbollah targets and eliminated over 220 terrorists across southern Lebanon in the past week alone. Like we reported on Friday, the IDF also killed the Gaza military chief for Hamas, which is called Izz al-Din al-Haddad. Do you remember that guy? I mentioned him already. Yeah. He hid in underground tunnels for months, but they tracked him down after he broke his own security rules. Israeli airstrikes in Gaza have increased in recent days. Between 8 and 10 people died in the latest attacks. Afterwards, IDF engineering forces moved the border further west around midnight. Troops set up the yellow concrete barriers near the Salah al-Din road, which is in Bani Su'uliyah, east of Khan Yunis. On the other hand, Hamas is attempting to use the Hajj pilgrimage to smuggle money into Gaza. This is the yearly travel that Islam takes once a year to reach Mecca and its surrounding sites in Saudi Arabia, by the way. Lahavdil Elif Al-Favdulas, like Oile Regel, they copy it from our Oile Regel down to the Beis HaMikdash. The group plans to hide and redirect the funds through Egypt before moving the cash into the territory. The IDF announced it is currently short by roughly 12,000 troops, including up to 7,500 combat soldiers. Military officials warned that this gap will grow larger in the coming year. It would be more troublesome if the government were to allow the shortened mandatory military services. One of the reasons why the fights over the Gzailas Agias, obviously, which is happening right now, this issue caused a crisis in the Prime Minister's coalition, Benjamin Netanyahu, who is no longer, by the way, actively trying to stop a vote this week on dissolving the Knesset. Instead, he's focusing on passing key laws, including the draft law. Democratic parties are saying that Haredi parties will be kept out of the next Israeli government. Shortly after Trump visited China, Iran named senior politician Mohammad Bagher Ghalibaf as its special envoy to China, which is worrisome. Experts say this shows Iran now sees China as a very important ally if they could. Galibaf is a hardliner and a politician, and also joined the past peace talks with the United States. Whether he's there now, I don't know. According to the U.S. State Department, the Israeli-Lebanon ceasefire will continue for another 45 days. This is all thanks to the third round of U.S. mediated talks. Both sides returned to the negotiations on June 2nd and June 3rd, led by Marco Rubio. Tribes in Yemen's Al-Jawaf area are preparing to fight the Houthis. They are basically angry because the Houthis arrested a woman from Sanaz called Mira. The Al-Yatma tribes say they may attack if she's not released. The tribes were usually neutral or supported. They supported Nasrallah or Ansarullah before, whatever that means. Mira says that she is the daughter of Saddam Hussein. She reportedly came to Yemen in 2003. The Saleh government allegedly gave her a new identity and hid her there. All right, now, for the first time in American history, a sitting president called on American Jews to observe Shabbos in honor of this country. As you know, this past Shabbos 250 program featured a Shabbos table set up inside the White House this past Friday night for Pashas Bamidbar. Activists from the organization Tzedek attended, led by Reb Moshe Magreten Shlita, who stayed in Washington with his group over Shabbos. Leo Terrell and the chairman of the task force to combat anti-Semitism also attended and tasted gefilte fish for the first time, obviously. And maybe they have Menashevitz wine there. US-based, if you know what I'm talking about, if you haven't yet heard or watched my Shmis with Reb Getzi Markowitz, by the way, there's a very interesting story that might actually make you laugh for days. Now, US-based Matzel, you can find it on Yiddish24, by the way. Also on YouTube. US-based Matzil Search and Rescue, Search and Rescue, has joined forces with Toronto Shomrim and local police. They want to find a 14-year-old girl who has been missing since Friday night. Shomrim is asking the public to keep emergency lines clear. They're asking for Toronto citizens to refrain from calling their hotline unless reporting an emergency or valuable information. Before we go to the next story, I'd like to answer a listener's question about which Hasidus I associate myself with. The answer is Pittsburgh. This is my Rebbe. All right, let's talk about the next thing. London police are searching for a man who threatened to behead Yidden. A video of the Jew hater making violent threats against Yidden and Israel was posted on social media on Friday. Shomrim in London stated that they are aware of this video. Police also dealt with unrest during two opposing protests in the city. Officers arrested 20 right-wing protesters at a massive rally organized by Tommy Robinson, with 9 arrests for hate crimes. At a separate anti-Israeli Nakba march, police arrested 12 people, including 2 for hate crimes. England is busy. US officials now charged an Iraqi man with planning at least 18 terror attacks in Europe. The attacks were linked to the war between Iran and Israel and the United States, obviously. Officials said he helped plan attacks in cities like London and Amsterdam. He's also accused of planning attacks against Jewish and American targets in the US and Canada. The man was arrested in Turkey and brought to the United States. If found guilty, he could spend life in prison. The U.S. Justice Department will seek the death penalty for Elias Rodriguez. He is the accused killer of the 2 Israeli embassy workers outside the Capitol Jewish Museum in Washington, D.C. in 2025. He also shouted pro-Palestinian slogans back then, during and after the shooting. So police said that this attack was planned and motivated by political and religious hatred. Rodriguez faces murder, hate crime, and terrorism charges. If found guilty, he could be executed. The White House announced a massive trade agreement between China and the US after their summit. China will buy at least $17 billion of American farm goods every single year, talking about soy. And these purchases will specifically target US beef and poultry. Despite the deal, well, not just soy, despite the deal, Trump's advisors warned of a military threat. Why? They say Xi Jinping declared China is now equal to the United States. Xi Jinping also made a direct claim of ownership over Taiwan. Well, within 5 years. An invasion would cut off the computer chips needed for artificial intelligence that could severely damage the American economy. Taiwanese President Lai Ching-te responded to the summit and said that Taiwan will never surrender its democracy or right to rule itself. We reported last week that Kevin Warsh is now the new U.S. Federal Reserve Chairman. Now, unfortunately, Trump is causing issues for Warsh's new plans. Warsh faces a major internal disagreement at the central bank over whether to cut interest rates or not. The country's massive debt load could also stop his plan to shrink the central bank's assets. His confirmation means that the US will return to strictly controlling the money supply. The Senate rule-keeper blocked $1 billion in taxpayer money it was meant for Trump's proposed White House ballroom project. Senate Republicans wanted to use that $1 billion to pay for the security at the new building. Last week, I actually went a little bit on an explanation of what this whole ballroom idea is, for those of you who want to know. Ironic, because security is the only reason why they are building the White House ballroom project after recent shootings, right? Trump made it very clear. Democrats promised to fight the plan and to use taxpayer money. Vice President J.D. Vance defended the new Trump administration program called SAVE Act, which basically checks who is allowed to vote. Critics say the plan could remove people from voting from voting lists, large voting lists, just before the midterm elections. Vance reported and responded that the voter fraud problem is large enough to require the administration's full attention. But he explained that previous governments didn't do anything or investigated the issue until Trump became president. And now he's getting patched for it, obviously. And also we all know that J.D. Vance is leading now one of the biggest fraud task forces, similar to Doge, obviously, in California. He froze billions of dollars, I think, in funds. Last week, we reported that J.D. Vance is heading up to the White House task force to eliminate tax fraud, like I said, and they've been cracking down hard on health fraud, especially in California. Now, last week alone, like I said, I made a mistake. I didn't make a mistake, actually. He froze over $1.3 billion of Medicaid money to California because the state isn't taking fraud seriously enough. They've also suspended payments to hundreds of shady hospice and home health agencies in Los Angeles. Hospices are these places where people go to die, obviously, when they're very, 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 very sick. 4 people were injured after a series of random shootings in Austin, Texas over the weekend. Police arrested multiple teenagers. Now we're reported of another shooting happening. They're connected to over 10 different attacks across the city. The teenagers shot at fire trucks, apartment buildings, and also random people on the street. Unbelievable. What's going on today? And also a local fire station. This forced the city to order residents to stay inside and shelter in place where they are safer. According to reports from Kan News, which is in Israel, the loud boom people heard over in Beit Shemesh over the weekend was actually just a controlled blast at a civilian site. Thankfully, there are no damages to speak of. Also, Baruch Hashem, no injuries, casualties were reported. Everything is currently under control. It was made by one of the military missile engine factories trying or testing equipment. Venezuela sent businessman Alex Saab to the United States on Shabbos. Saab is a close ally of Venezuela's socialist government. He was also one of the most trusted financial operatives of former Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro. The U.S. wants him for corruption, drug trafficking, and money laundering charges. Venezuela's immigration agency confirmed he was handed over to the U.S. authorities. Saab may now face criminal trials in the United States. Oh, did I mention one of the posts from Trump yesterday was of Venezuela with the words 51st state? Forgot to do that, Murray. So here it is. Okay, now, a dear listener asked, and I did some extra research. It has not made the news lately, but it's been over 100 days since Nancy Guthrie, the woman of the mother of the TV host Savannah Guthrie, disappeared from her home in Arizona. She's only 84 years old. Police believed she was only 84 years old today. It's young, by the way, just saying. Police believe she was taken by force on February 1st, although they have spent months investigating the case. No suspect has so far been publicly identified. Now, police are still studying DNA evidence, camera footage, and tips from the public. Now, to my listener who called about the Iron Beam, thank you so much for thanking me about this. And of course I listen. He tested me to see if I listen. I listen to everything, by the way. You can call me again on 845-671-1775. Press 5. No emails, no text, just 5, please. That's the only place I listen, so please, yes, thank you. A leaked American intelligence report says Cuba is gathering military drones to attack the U.S., by the way. The targets include Guantanamo Bay, American military ships, and Key West, Florida. Cuba has collected more than 300 military drones from Russia and Iran since 2023, and these drones are hidden across the island. American officials clarify that Cuba is not actively planning on an attack right now. However, military leaders are making drone warfare plans in case a conflict begins. President Trump, his administration, called this a growing threat. Now, officials worry the drones could be used by terror groups, drug cartels, or Iranian military advisors currently in Havana. They also worry about Russia and China operating electronic spying facilities in Cuba. In the past month alone, Cuba asked Russia for more military equipment. American intelligence said that Cuban officials are studying how Iran uses drones against the United States. About 5,000 Cuban soldiers also fought for Russia, and these soldiers returned to teach Cuban leaders about military tactics. CIA Director John Ratcliffe, I reported already, traveled to Cuba on Thursday to warn officials against starting a fight and making negotiations. In response, the Cuban embassy posted a statement online claiming the right to self-defense. They accused the United States of spreading lies to justify a military attack. American officials admit Cuba is not the same military threat it was during the 1962 Cuban Missile Crisis. They acknowledge Cuba cannot close the Strait of Florida. Well, guess what? Another strait to worry about. They also said that Cuba may not have a single working fighter jet, but it's not stopping them from giving more financial punishments this week. In other words, sanctions. From one peaceful, as in pieces, front to another peaceful front, pieces, Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky released new intelligence documents and satellite images. It shows that Russia is preparing strikes on around 20 decision-making centers across Ukraine. Among the targets are his home near Kiev, the presidential administration building, and also an underground leadership bunker. And, as they say, the best defense is a good offense. Now, Ukraine launched its largest drone attack on Moscow over the weekend. It sent 600 drones into the Russian capital, which killed 4 people and left many wounded. The operation was a direct response to a massive Russian attack on Ukraine that happened just a few days ago. American and Nigerian forces killed the global second-in-command of ISIS, during a helicopter raid in Africa. President Donald J. Trump announced the news early Saturday morning. He said that he directed the mission against target Abu Bilal al-Minuki. The operation involved about 24 soldiers from the American SEAL Team 6 and the Armed Forces of Nigeria. A 3-hour battle happened on 2 islands in the Lake Chad region. This led to the terrorists' leader's death. Talk show host, Jewish man Bill Maher, recently spoke with Pennsylvania Senator Fetterman, and Texas Congressman Dan Crenshaw, the guy with an eye patch, by the way. They discussed President Trump's strategy regarding the current conflict with Iran. Senator Fetterman pointed out a change in Democratic Party. He said that for years now, leaders from both political parties agreed that Iran must never be allowed to get a nuclear weapon. Fetterman argued that now that President Trump is putting on Tatoism, obviously, and taking strong action against Iran, his Democratic colleagues have lost it again, and the president, because of Trump derangement syndrome, and now fall for the Iranian propaganda. Bill Maher, joked that if the United States wants to keep the Strait of Hormuz open, they should just send the infected hantavirus cruise ship there. And he said the second that cruise ship arrives, the Iranian military would immediately flee, leaving the water completely open. Open the strait on cruise control, in other words. Interesting news from our UK people, by the way. A report from the Daily Mail says that the UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer plans to resign. He told his allies that he will step down in an orderly transition. He will do this because of the growing pressure caused by the Labour Party's poor local election results. Starmer has not yet confirmed this idea through a public announcement, obviously. It's just schmears. Scientists are testing a cancer treatment called CART therapy for HIV. The treatment changes immune cells so that they can fight the virus. In a small study, 2 people kept the virus at low levels without regular medicine. 1 person stayed healthy for nearly 2 years. The second person stayed healthy for almost 1 year. Researchers say the early results took good, but they still need to do larger studies. The goal is a treatment that works in just 1 dose. Now, some interesting posts from Trump we may have missed. You guess what? You're sick and tired of those posts? I know, me too, by the way. Phew, there are a lot. Anyway, Trump posted a picture of his younger self sitting next to his older self and the words, "Same guy, even more energy now." And another post, but wait, let's talk about Prototype. 347-354-1237. The number is, again, 347-354-1237. You go on to proto-byte.com. What do? They design custom-made software. Anything you want, just give them the plan, they will design it for you. Trump posted another picture of his new $100 bill, signed with his name, and wait for it, with his picture. But first, another one also, YS Capital Group, they do better than these posts. You know what they do? They actually post money into your bank accounts. You know for what? To be able to buy a building that you want to invest in, make some money. And direct lenders fast approval beats the bank, by the way. 718-831-2168. You mention On Edge, you get your rate locked in. And thank you again for these two sponsors, by the way, and as well, especially Arrive Express, for being the most loyal sponsors on my show. They've been the first since the show began, by the way, just saying. YS Capital has been the actual first, by the way, just saying. But Arrive Express, 845-622-1111, 845-254-1111. President Donald J. Trump also posted a 22-foot golden statue of himself, which is now standing at the Doral Golf Club in Miami. He posted that people love it. People obviously were angry about it, and they obviously criticized it. And he predicted that it will soon become a landmark. And this is that statue. All right, my friends, before I go, I'd like to tell you about my grandfather, whose yahrzeit was yesterday. I know, we're up to 40 minutes now. It's a long one. It's Monday. As you can imagine, I probably should have shortened it, but the only reason why it was so long is because of the Trump posts. But again, who doesn't love a Trump post here and there, right? A Trump post, I'm saying. Joking. Next time we'll just round it up to one. But what can I do? He posted 45, and I know you guys want to know about it, but what can I say? Okay, so this is our news roundup for today. And my grandfather's yahrzeit was yesterday, Schwarcz ben Menachem Gershy, which I'm named after, by the way. Not Hakol Bakol, but Menachem Gershy. And I spoke about his father last week. His grandfather, Menachem Gershy's father, Hakol Bakol, whose yahrzeit was supposedly last week because they didn't know he was sent to the left side by Mengele, Yamach Shomrim NW. So, yeah. Anyway, so his yahrzeit was, he passed away peacefully, obviously, Baruch Hashem, living in London. And he is right now in Harmoniches. May his body. And may his neshama have an aliyah be made for all of us. Rabbi Schwarcz ben Menachem Gershy. Hakoyan Schwarcz. Okay, let's look at Rabbi Kol Tov.
Your daily report of the news of the last 24 hours, powered by Yiddish24, provided to you by The Click.